Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Bourbon Bar. I'm Holden, and today again I have with me Lauren as we kind of do a little experiment on something that's known to a lot of the bourbon community and something that people think might be a sin, but we're going to address that here tonight and kind of see what adding water to whiskey can do for something like that. So, that being said, welcome to it. We got a couple different options here, but first I'm going to make sure that the mic's working all good. Since we seem to have those issues sometimes, and the mic is working fine. So that's a good start to the night. Now, the whiskeys that we're going to be drinking tonight are starting with my Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, and this is a store pick from the wine cellar in De Pere, and this is 132.7 proof, which is the hottest whiskey that I have here on the shelf. So this one, if any of them, is going to need the most proofing down. It's very hot, especially on the neck pour is really hot, but it has come down a little bit. Then we're also going to be doing Larceny Barrel Proof Batch B or Batch A122. This one comes in at 124.4 proof, which is still a nice respected proof and very good whiskey. So I have no doubt that those two will both be very nice. Now, two kind of mainstays that a lot of people have on the shelf that is in the cask strength area, but kind of under that 120 mark, that I'm going to be testing out tonight is the Wild Turkey Rare Breed and Old Forester 1920. Those are two that a lot of people drink, so I think if anyone's going to take away something from this video, it's going to be someone who can drink those whiskeys. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and start with, like I said, Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, and this is an 8-year store pick from the wine cellar, which is in De Pere, and it's 132.7 proof. So, and as we do this, Lauren's going to kind of be drinking along with me whatever she wants it to taste. Kind of just, like I said, getting her more and more into whiskey, slowly but surely, until eventually one day she'll be drinking it like me. Isn't that right?
Sure.
Sugar Kitty is in the house. Hey, Sugar Kitty. Welcome to it. Thanks for joining. Hanging AZ, hey now. How's it going? What are you guys drinking tonight? I know Hanging AZ doesn't normally drink this early. I don't know if Sugar Kitty does or not. I'm not sure exactly how much alcohol Kitty needs to get drunk because being such a small being, you would think that just a little bit would do the job, but
doesn't Puss in Boots get drunk off milk? Right?
That's true. I wonder, Sugar Kitty, do you put whiskey in your milk? Because that would be good, right? It's kind of like eggnog. It's kind of like a White Russian or like eggnog or something like that. And Hanging AZ says, "Are you using pure Japanese glacier water?" LOL. No. Yeah. Some people insist that you have to use like purified water or like distilled water or something because the taste of the water will change the whiskey. Yes, it will change the taste of the whiskey. Do I really care? No. I'm using just tap water out of the sink.
Pure Lake Michigan.
Pure Lake Michigan's finest.
Yep.
It's water's water to me. Some of them, yes, waters have different flavors, but this water tastes fine and clean. And it's not going to be doing too much to the whiskey in terms of weird flavors. So I'm confident that it'll just do wonderful things. Sugar Kitty says, cats have wee canes. That says canes, right?
Yes. Canes? Oh?
I'm not sure. I don't know what that means, unfortunately. Lake Michigan water? Oh boy, yeah, I know, right?
What? We don't like Lake Michigan water?
No, in terms of, this isn't no Fiji water coming untouched by man. This is, my next door neighbor probably took a piss in it yesterday type Lake Michigan water. So that being said,
I think they do filter it,
They do filter, yes, they do.
We could have went and got Nicolay water. It would have been like straight Wisconsin water.
Oh, really?
But you know what I mean, like the one that like Nicolay water.
I didn't. Is that?
It's like a brand.
Oh, I thought that was like just water that you get from Nicolay Bank. Is that a Wisconsin bank?
I don't know. I think it's a national bank. But no, Nicolay water is from Nicolay, like the Nicolay area of Wisconsin.
Either way, right away we're gonna go ahead and get this on the nose, and I'm gonna do a pre or a before and after of the whiskey before and after I add water, just so I can get my bearings and do a full comparison on what it's like. I know the Bourbon Junkies did this not too long ago, where they had made a video discussing. They had some heavy hitters in there, and they added water, and they actually liked it a lot. So I'm curious. What I don't have is exact measurements. I'm not going to be proofing it down exactly to 80 or whatever. I do have a pipette just so I can get be consistent with 1 millimeter or milliliter or 2 milliliter. But the amount of whiskey I'm pouring in the glass is going to be different every time, so it's not entirely accurate. I know I have roughly that amount in the glass, and that's kind of what I'm going to be basing it off of. Sugar Kitty says, came. Oh, it says Karen.
Can we not read, or are we stupid?
No, the R and the N look
yeah,
like an M. Yeah, our bad, Sugar Kitty. We're just
Maybe we
goofy.
just look sweet, so it makes us look really dumb.
Karen, as in Glen Karen, the type of glass. We Karens are the half sizes, so Kitty's glasses are miniatures of miniatures. Oh.
They're bigger Glen Karens. Are those
Well, I know that the Bourbon room has bigger Glen Karens than this. Slightly. So one thing I noticed when I first got into whiskey is the bar that I like going to with her has slightly bigger openings on the Glen Karens, and the entire Glen Karen's a bit bigger. But they do have little ones as well, like little mini ones, and they have ones that hang from your neck, that they use when they go to whiskey events and stuff. For sure. Believe me, Fiji water was touched by human hands. Yes, I do not doubt that. Sugar Kitty does appreciate the catnip note in some of the more expensive offerings. Yes, Hanging Z, you're absolutely right. But anyway, into this whiskey, the store pick from the wine cellar. Very proofy and very honey, Teddy Grahams type of honey sweetness in there. Lots of oak presence in there. Caramel is a really good one. There's a lot of basic caramel vanillas in there, but that honey graham note comes through a lot. It's very sweet smelling on the nose, but it all is coming with a wave of proof. Like I said, this is the highest proof whiskey on the shelf, and it definitely hits up there. So I'm good on the palate right away, and let you guys know how that is. Okay. Palate has initially lots of ethanol. I mean, it's proofy going into your mouth. It's rich and viscous, so the water shouldn't be completely destroying it in that regards. It should retain a little bit of its viscosity. However, there's lots of oak spice right on the front of the palate, all followed by that sweet honeyness that comes through. On the finish, it's got some light cinnamon along with that honey vanilla notes, and just a little bit of leathery note in the back end, just after it finishes on the way down. So that's really good. Look who's in the house. Richie Z, Holden, and the missus. Cheers. Richie, it's been a while. I haven't seen you around, but thanks for stopping in and hanging out. I appreciate that. I'm glad to see you back here. But anyway, so this is really good. Do you want to try this one at all? It's kind of high proof. Maybe you can just smell it. You don't need to taste it if you don't want to, but if you would like to, feel free. It's a proofy one. Yeah.
Have that back.
Maybe when I water it down.
It stings when my nose hairs.
Okay, so I'm gonna add about 1 milliliter of water to this. And then I'm going to add another 1 milliliter of water into this because I don't think... There, that's probably good. And because I'm being sanitary, I'm just going to stir it with the droplet in there. And then we're going to swirl it together and make sure it's nice and mixed up. Now, this is something that, most people understand that you have to mix it up, but like when they proof down whiskey in big batches, I'm pretty sure they have like a whole system and they mix it a lot more thoroughly than just swirling in the Glen. But like I said, this is kind of just experimentation. I don't have anything fancy to like really measure anything, so it is what it is. Okay, so the proof got knocked off the nose a bit.
Mm-hmm.
It smells a lot sweeter now, a lot gentler. The honey note is coming through, but it's like the graham crackery part of the like golden grams like honey note comes through a lot here too. I'm getting almost like a bready aspect, but like a sweet bread, like honey bread, like graham crackers. Even though graham crackers aren't really bread, I guess it's a cracker. What is?
I think that they come from like the same family, but it's not the same thing.
True. It is very, very tasty. I mean, on the nose, very like light and nice, but like the proof is all still there. So it's changed, but not a whole lot. I'm probably gonna add some more water after I taste this and see how much it changed because, like I said, this one is really high proof, and I didn't add too much water, so maybe a little bit more would help it. But overall, the nose smells just tamed down, sweeter, more honey. Maybe a little bit less of that like oak, but a little bit more of the caramel vanilla. I actually want to say there's a little bit of like some kind of fruit in there. It's gonna be like blackberry. Yeah, maybe like a blackberry jam type fruity note in there. But we'll see how it is on the palate. Okay, so, okay, that's nice. A lot less aggressive up front. I'll let you try that one if you want to try it. It's a lot less aggressive up front. It's kind of like the proof is still there and still rich and viscous, but I would say if I was guessing based on like my proof radar, I'm putting it somewhere near the like 100 proof or 105 proof. So it still has some nice viscosity on the palate, on the tongue, but it also has like that sweet blackberry note mixed with that honeyness and the oak presence on the tongue, on the palate there is a lot more subtle, and it kind of like comes with that leatheriness that I had on the finish. It kind of came up to the mid palate. So overall, kind of moved things around, but made the actual sipping it kind of, I wouldn't want to say more enjoyable, but more easy to drink. So, definitely something that I would consider every time I pour this. Maybe adding just a little bit of water to kind of tame it out a little bit, because just because it's full proof and cast strength, barrel proof, whatever you want to call it, doesn't mean that that's how you need to drink it every single time. And this might even handle well with some ice in it, being that it's 132 proof. So, what did you think about it?
I thought it tingled still.
Tingled still?
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, I don't know. It tastes like cinnamon, but I think it was just kind of hot.
yeah, so the proof could be coming off as like a cinnamony note, but I did get a twinge of cinnamon the first time. I'll actually taste it again here before I add this a little bit more water to try to see if I get the cinnamon on this time. It's more like a sweet cinnamon that I noticed in there, but I think that has to do with like the honey. So okay, cinnamon. I can see where you're getting the cinnamon. The cinnamon's kind of like, I would say like right on the front of the tongue when you first put it in your mouth. It's kind of like the first thing you get before you get into all that like darker, like leathery oakiness that has like mid palate. But the cinnamon, I can definitely tell like right when you're first drinking it, the cinnamon's like the first thing that hits the tongue with like maybe a little bit of caramel. But it's I mean, it's there, so that's not wrong. So I added 2 more milliliters of water. Now this is like probably proof down. I'm guessing maybe around 80. I mean, I'm pulling this stuff out of my ass, so I won't be able to tell you for sure what proof it is, but I can definitely taste it and see when the time comes. But I'm gonna catch up on some comments here. Looks like we're all pretty active in the chat. I need to bunker some rare breed. Getting harder to find. The taters caught on. Yeah, so I've seen that on Facebook, but I haven't. She just asked me what a tater is, and if you guys want to put in your definitions, feel free. What I've always assumed a tater is, because like there wasn't always like a specific definition that I've seen, but it's kind of someone who like obsesses over Buffalo Trace products, and like they go to the store and they're like asking the store clerk for Blantons every single day, and like the only thing they care about is Buffalo Trace because that's typical and like everyone's looking for it. So they kind of are into whiskey, but they don't know enough to make them like get all this like amazing stuff. So they kind of just get, Buffalo Trace products, Blantons. They kind of search for the same things and they're obsessed with it. And they consider that when they are determining if whiskey's good, they kind of just ask if it's smooth or not, and like just kind of like someone who's into whiskey, but they don't know enough to make them like really into whiskey, I guess. But you guys definitely feel free to throw your definitions of tater in the chat, because I'd be interested to see what your guys' definitions are, because I think everyone kind of thinks majority the same thing, but it can vary a little bit. Richie G says, I'm off today, otherwise usually still working, buddy. Dang, that sucks. But I'm glad that you're off, and I'm glad that you're here, because I appreciate you coming in. Graham cracker notes are delicious. Yes, I agree. Graham crackers are fantastic. I used to eat them all, like binge eating them. And so when I get a graham cracker note and a whiskey, it tends to be something that I like a lot. So it's very good. I'm angry at 46, almost like Anthony and Long Branch. Pisses me off. Why are you angry at 46? What did 46 ever do to you? My 46 is, I haven't touched it in a while, but it's still a great bottle of whiskey. So I don't know what it did to harm you, but and as far as Anthony and his Long Branch, I don't think he saw my live stream last week, so I think he still is planning to collab with me, hopefully. Otherwise, the reason he hasn't answered my emails is probably because he found out that I put Long Branch not last on my list. So there's that. I seem to remember you mentioning graham cracker on a sample that you got and how much you liked that. Yeah, graham crackers are good. Hoards all the bottles and then never drinks them and sells secondary as well. So yeah, so a tater, kind of like mass market consumer, easily misled. Yeah. So basically a noob, and then they're the guys that have like the shelf is like 5 E.H. Taylors, 10 Blantons, like 50 Buffalo Trace bottles, and like 20 Eagle Rare bottles. And then whenever somebody wants a bottle of it, they go, yeah, I'll sell it to you. It's just going to be like $300. Like, and then, yeah, basically a noob. I guess a noob would be a good way to call them in the whiskey world. Richie G says taters are all about hyped bottle, and what Hangin' AZ said. Yep. So basically, I kind of feel the same. I don't think taters resell so much. They want to hang on to it and admire it instead of drinking it, so they don't want to let go of it. Yeah. That's another thing. I know there's a lot of people sometimes, because I kind of do kind of like collector's corners with what the bourbon junkies do, but I do bar reviews, and I get a lot of people who send me their bars and stuff, and there's just 50 unopened bottles, and then I'm just like, if you open one of those and drink it, you might like it. It might be your new favorite whiskey, but you'll never know because you have never tasted it before, and it's been sitting on your shelf for the last 5 years. I think AZ says, I hate the finish, tastes good up front, and then hot and bitter. Is that a new bottle still? I feel like we had talked about this previously, and I had said my neck pour of Maker's 46 was bad, and like it was a letdown, a really big letdown. And I have a Rebel cask strength that was a pretty big letdown too, being like a weeder, cask strength weeder. But like I let them open up, and it took like 3 weeks. But then as it kind of got past the neck pour, it was really good. So maybe that's it. Otherwise, I'm not entirely sure. But now this is proof down, hopefully closer to an 80 proof. And we're going to get it on the nose and compare it maybe to what like a normal Elijah Craig would have to offer. Okay. So sweeter, definitely more of the blackberry note, a lot fruitier on the nose on here. The fruit is coming out a lot more to play. I think the proofiness kind of brought that honeyness, which is still there, but it's tamed down a bit. But yeah, it does definitely has some blackberry. Caramel still there. I want to say like that cinnamon that you were getting on the palate is on the nose with the proof down. You can kind of get it because you kind of are taking out the proof and you're getting just the sense. And now what singed my nose hairs and initially told me proof is now gracing my nose hairs and calling itself cinnamon. So that being said, I think proof kind of hides that cinnamony note, being kind of a spicy note. And since it's proof down, I can get the cinnamon a bit more. Oh wow. Taste that. Okay. That was like really good. I mean, that was you okay?
I gotta waft it in my eyeballs.
Keep whiskey out of your eyes, ladies and gentlemen. That was really good. I thought that like the palate brought like this all sorts of sweetness and that like fruitiness kind of was like almost like that blackberry mixed with like raspberry note. So it's kind of has that like bit of like tartness, but like really sweet fruity note to it. And the cinnamon on the finish now was really, really, really nice. The proof is like a lot out of there comparatively, at least for me. And it was really sweet, and it seemed like full bodied and like nice and easy to drink on the palate. I'd still say this is slightly above 80 proof. If I was guessing, I would put it near the 84 to 90 proof range, just because it's still a bit hotter than 80 proof, but it is getting down there. It's not quite watered down past the point of being good whiskey yet. I think where I have it right now is probably perfect. I wouldn't want to water it down anymore. That might ruin it. But what did you think about that one?
I tasted the same as last time.
Same as last time, really. Even with the proof,
Yeah. It
was still not.
It's from my tongue. I tingled in the back of my tongue.
Okay, so initial palate, a bit different, but on the finish, it still had some proof. Yeah. So that's kind of what I was saying with how it seems like it's still over 80 proof, because like the upfront didn't quite burn at all, but on the finish, you still got a little bit of a Kentucky hug. Overall, really nice. I think this one's like perfect proof is like right here around like the 90 range. Really, really good to me anyway. It's just so. It's like the up front. It's just so like sweet and fruity. I mean, that's really nice. I like that a lot. I definitely think that that's about as good as it's going to get for that particular Elijah Craig barrel proof. I'll be interested to see. I mean, I'm not going to do it all in this live stream, but I'd be interested to see how it would compare to the other batches of Elijah Craig. But I'm going to only do a few bottles here. So, Hegneezy says it's new bottle design. You have to have a few pours, maybe give it another year. LOL. Yeah, well, I haven't had the new bottle design, so I don't know how it changed, if it changed at all. That would be an interesting video to do, is new versus old. label and seeing if the whiskey changed. So yeah, maybe I'll have to pick one up and do that. Andy Z says, I think you guys just like to say Jepsons. To be fair, I really loved my Jepson's bourbon that I had, and like initially I bought it because it was kind of like when it first came out, and I was like, oh my god, Malort is amazing. I can't wait to see how bad their bourbon is. And so I bought a bottle. We were in Chicago actually, and this was now they have it everywhere, but at the time like you couldn't get Malort in other states, or at least not in Wisconsin. So like I was going to Chicago and I wanted a bottle of Malort, so I went to the liquor store and found it. Then I found that they had bourbon, so I bought it too, and it ended up being not bad. So, long story short, I think Jepson's bourbon is just good MGP whiskey, and I would drink it repeatedly. So, I need to put some degreaser on my nails. Was wrenching on my mountain bike today. That sounds fun. Malort, ew. I have a friend who has worked as a bartender. He has talked about many nasty booze. Could not remember the name. It was Malort. Yeah, well, Malort's bad, but I've also heard of a different one. I don't know what it is. It's some kind of like vodka, and it's like incredibly high proof, and it tastes like dirty butt cheeks apparently. So
How do you know what that tastes like? What
I wouldn't.
doing?
I wouldn't, everybody. I wouldn't know what that tastes like. I've heard from many people how much they loved 46. Maybe my expectations were as high as the 101. See, I haven't had the 101, so I guess I don't have a comparison. But yeah, I loved the 46. I thought it was great. I still think it's great. But like I said, it took weeks before I could even like get a good read off of what the bottle had to offer. So the Malort Tim sent is a 50 ml, and the mini Malort, LOL, afraid to open it. Poured some ECBP C920, 132.8. I'll try a sip, then water it down. Yeah, go ahead and do that. That's 0.1 proof point higher than mine. Mine is 4 years younger than that though, because yours will be an 8-year or a 12-year, and mine's an 8-year. But I have a feeling you're gonna really like it. It's a different experience than drinking cask strength whiskey, because obviously drinking cask strength, you know everything that's offering, but it's really, really interesting to see how good it can be proofed down. So, like I said, give it a try. Sugar Kitty says I traded samples with Tim. I got a mini Malort too. I was stupid and did actually open it. So that's rough. It's a practical joke that I would love to make someone do someday, but I'll never hopefully open one for myself and taste it. I do think though at 1,000 subscribers I will do a professional in a Glencairn full-on tasting of Malort, a professional review. I'm gonna keep a straight face and just pretend that I haven't done any of it before and just give an honest opinion on what I think it tastes like. But until that point, I will keep Malort out of my glass for as long as I can. Hanging AZ says Malort is better admired from afar than drank. Yes, I think Malort is the best when you're watching your friends drink it, right?
I've never drinking it.
Yeah, she's never. I'm going to make her someday, but she hasn't yet.
No.
Isaiah's V hanging it or calling us all out, saying cheers. Cheers, man. Thanks for coming and hanging out. I'm glad to see you here. Biking Bourbon's in the house too. What's up, my guy? Cheers. Welcome to it. I hope you guys are all having a fantastic night. Yeah, I'm going to move on to the Larceny Barrel Proof and water that one down next. But this Elijah Craig did not disappoint, and I really like it a lot. So.
Can you finish it?
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do with it then?
Not right now, anyway. I'm going to save that for later, because maybe when I'm done doing all this online, I will kind of put them all up against each other and see which one was the best watered down. Or maybe I'll do it while I'm still on the stream. We'll see what kind of time we have. But I have been taking my time, so we're already a half hour in. We've only gotten one whiskey down, but we're slowly working our way toward victory. That being said, it's time for Larceny A122. This, if you guys remember, I thought was amazing. I think I gave it like a 9.3 out of 10. it was a whiskey that I had decided passed Elijah Craig barrel proofs for me. In terms of like what Heaven Hill was offering barrel proof wise, but I like it a lot, and it's got some really great notes in it without water. So I'm gonna be impressed, hopefully, to see what it does with water added into it. Sugar Kitty says, "Horrid whiskey is Johnny Smoking Gun. I've heard of another one with a rifle theme, supposed to be worse. DC once gave ADHD whiskey a flight of the worst of the worst. Just search for that stream." That sounds really fun, actually. I would love. I mean, I don't necessarily love drinking bad whiskey, but I think if someone lined up all the worst whiskeys for me and I was able to compare them, I would find that really fun. And I don't know if the one you're thinking of is Derringer. It's got like a cool looking bottle, and it's got like a pistol grip for the cork, and everyone buys it because it looks cool, and they all say it tastes like ass. But I'm not sure if that's the one you're talking about when you say it's gun themed. But yeah, I'll have to look up that video later. But now we're on the Larceny Barrel Proof A122. On the nose, it's very creamy and like vanilla-y, almost like a nougat on a candy bar, like a nougat on a Three Musketeers. Wait, which one is the one that?
With all nougat?
No. With caramel.
That's Milky Way.
Milky Way. Yes, I mean, nose is very Milky Way-esque. It's got some nougat, some like creamy vanilla like nougat in there, but it also has like that caramel and is really sweet. There's some like cocoa notes in there, some like chocolate, like dark chocolate notes in there as well. So like very Milky Way bar-esque. Maybe a really, really, really light peanut dust, like very small, but there just a little bit on the nose of this one. Palate, right up front, sweet vanilla. It's kind of got like that creamy, like almost like a coffee creamer. You okay with
I
that?
think I have a cut on my lip.
Oh,
It keeps hurting.
I'm sorry. Well, she says she has a cut on her lip, and we all know that whiskey will help clean it out because it's alcohol, right? So if anything, it's sanitary. Anyway, yeah, the palate of this one is really nice, really sweet. There's a lot of like that nougaty, almost like a coffee creamer note, almost like a caramel coffee creamer that you would put in the coffee. But it does have some oak presence in there, but it being like a weeder, it doesn't have any of that like super spiciness. I would say that nuttiness could also be like a nutmeg, almost like Christmassy. Lots of brown sugar in this one as well. That's something I didn't really point out the first time. It's very like abundantly sweet. That bready note that I get in Weeders is also there. It's a little bit like fresh bread. So overall, really good. It doesn't drink nearly as hot as the ECBP does. So we're going to see if water completely destroys this one or if it will hold up and also become really, really nice. So we're going to start off with the 2 milliliters that we added to the other one. I'm actually going to do 1.5 because there's a little bit less whiskey in this glass than there was in the other one. So we're starting off with 1.5 milliliters of water added to the glass. And this hopefully will proof it down to like the 100 proof mark. This one's 124.4 proof, so almost it's about 8 proof points lower than the Elijah Craig was. But it should still be fantastic, I'm hoping. So Sugar Kitty says, no, I know the Derringer bottle is a very small distillery. It was one DC discovered. I don't know it then. Yep. So now that we've watered this down, we're going to see if it's still as good as it was when I first opened it. And hopefully it is, because Larceny Barrel Proof
I liked
is
it.
one of my favorite. You did like it.
Mm-hmm.
It was hard to
hurt my lip.
It was hard to tell with her face. Did you get anything particular note wise on it that you remembered, or was it just that like sweetness that you kind of enjoyed?
I don't remember. I put Mountain Dew in my mouth, and I don't know
Oh,
what it tastes like.
Mountain Dew! You're drinking. Everyone, she's
like,
drinking the Mountain Dew
thirsty.
Spark, the raspberry lemonade Mountain Dew with Tito's grapefruit. So
No.
or Deep Eddy's grapefruit. Sorry, yeah, put that up there. Yeah. So.
I don't like this one as much though.
Yeah, that one.
This is only okay.
We usually drink the lime and we use it in Moscow Mules, which is really good. But either way, just cheap vodka, flavored vodka. You can drink it straight if you wanted, but. Oh, okay. A little bit of the ethanol's killed. Still really sweet, but less of that fresh nougatness on the nose. I would say a little bit more of that chocolate, and there's almost like a cherry in there now, like a chocolate-covered cherry in it. Which is interesting because I didn't get almost any fruit on the nose the first time around. Oh, so much easier to drink on the palate. Yeah, fruity on the palate. It's like really like cherry-y note, almost like chocolate covered cherries or dark chocolate cherries. Then I noticed on the palate there, the oak. There's definitely some oak spice in there, just a little bit of cinnamon on the back end. Cinnamon, maybe it could be nutmeg actually. Now that I'm thinking about it, finish isn't too long at all. This is probably a decent proof, but we're gonna proof it down a little bit more here. But I think this is like a good proof. This is one that I really liked without any proofing down. I'm not sure that this made it any better. Yeah, I'm not sure that this made it any better, but it did bring out a cherry note, which is quite interesting. I don't know, did you get the cherry-ness at all on it?
I can smell like the caramel-y on the nose.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
So, yeah, so it changed a little bit, but this might be destroying it, but we're going to go with 1 more milliliter of water just to be sure. All right, now there's 1 more milliliter of water in here, so hopefully this doesn't completely destroy it and this brings it down to somewhat of like a good proof for this one. I would say it was probably close to that bottle and bond proof, that 100 proof on the last try, so hopefully this one doesn't bring it down too low, but we're going to go ahead and see how it changed on the nose. Okay, so that grainy, like bready note comes through a lot more now. That caramel's still there. Honestly, there's a little bit less vanilla than I was first getting. But yeah, that breadiness really comes through there on the nose, kind of overtaking most of the other notes on it. I think the proof kind of canceled out that bready note initially, which is, I love the bready note, but I did like the other notes that the proof was offering as well. So interesting, but yeah, a lot less to offer on the palate now. A little bit of that cherry note still resides. I would say that caramel's going to be there regardless. The nutmeg is amped up just a little bit maybe compared to the last proofing, but overall it's just like an oaky caramely, a little bit of cherry and a little bit of nutmeg. So it's a nice sipper. If I got a normal bottle of this at a good price, I wouldn't mind it. It would be good whiskey, but compared to the original, I don't think this one's quite worth proofing down. What do you think?
I don't know.
You know,
I don't get any cherry. I think you're crazy.
You think I'm crazy? She doesn't get any cherry. Not even on the mid palate. I insist that there's cherry in here.
I'm sure. I don't remember what cherries taste like.
You don't remember what cherries taste like?
I don't remember last time I had a cherry.
gotta go up to Door County and eat some
You know
cherry
that-
pie.
Door County cherry pie was named like the meal, like the food of Wisconsin.
Really?
Yeah.
Apparently, Door County's cherry pie, and for those of you who weren't here other times we talked about, this is Wisconsin. Here's a peninsula, and Door County is right at the tip. They always have some cherries up there, really good cherries, and they make a lot of cherry-flavored things, and they put cherries in everything. And apparently, Door County
cheese curds.
Door County cherry pie, it was voted like Wisconsin's #1 food or meal or whatever.
Like the
over-
food you think of when you think of that state. Like,
Right.
you know, like I think that Chicago or in Illinois got like Italian. Is that what it is? Italian beef. The beef.
Oh, I don't even know. But yeah, over cheese curds, which is huge upset for
yeah.
cheese curds, for sure.
I know. The people on the radio were fighting about it. So, because you can get cherry pie anywhere, but you really can't get cheese curds everywhere. Especially, like, I know you're thinking like the warm, fresh cheese curds. You're thinking like beer battered cheese curds. You're thinking like breaded cheese curds. Like, if you've ever been to Culver's with the breaded cheese curds, they're good, but they're not as good as beer batter. But is beer batter better than warm, fresh cheese curds? Or
Right.
What's your favorite kind of cheese curd?
My favorite kind of cheese curd is beer batter the one where it's like
Beer batter?
like a thick batter, almost like a pancake batter.
Yeah, they're like the ones that are going to be like you'd get from the fair.
Yeah, beer
Yeah.
batter.
Those are my
By
favorite
far
too.
the best. That's what we made at Eddie Whip's. It
Yeah.
was fresh cheese curds, beer battered, and deep fried. So it's just like you have cheese and then you have like this like somewhat hard shell, but it's not quite breading. It's like
Well, it's beer batter, like beer battered fish. Is that not a thing everywhere? Is
I
fish
don't
and
know.
chip like the fish fry, like Friday fish fries? Is that a thing everywhere?
well,
Because
yeah, but a lot of
they
them
were-
aren't beer battered around here. Oh, well, some of them are, but like
Almost everything, almost every fried fish you're gonna get around here is beer battered. You can get breaded fishes, but they're mostly gonna be beer battered, especially like a fish fry.
but usually they're fried with flour coating.
In a beer battered.
Are you sure?
Mhm.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
I didn't either. I thought that was everywhere.
What is everyone else's favorite cheese curds?
If you've had.
If you've had them, I
Some
know
places-
cheese curds
Some
aren't.
places, I forgot where I was.
Some
but
places
they-
don't have cheese curds like Wisconsin
I was
does.
somewhere
But
on vacation when I was younger, and they had cheese curds. They were literally a cheese curd, but they called them cheese balls. It was like the dumbest thing ever.
cheese balls?
Cheese ball.
That sounds so unappetizing.
I know, cheese curd.
A cheese curd just sounds like something you want to just put in your mouth.
You don't want to put some balls in your mouth?
I'm not one to put balls in my mouth usually. Maybe I'll make an exception if they're cheese balls.
Cheesy balls?
But Sugar Kitty says other disappointments, believe it or not, Old Forester birthday bourbon really in Springbank 10 local barley. I've never heard of the Springbank,
But you broke his heart.
but yeah, I want with all my heart an Old Forester birthday bourbon. Now I know that like I have heard some things that like maybe they're not quite as good as other like sought after allocated bottles of whiskey. However, I think the bottle shape of them is hilariously cool. I think the idea of like getting one to commemorate something like and then not opening it until like an anniversary of that thing is also very cool. Like your kid's birth year and then when they turn 21 or the year of your wedding and then like on your 20th anniversary of your wedding or something like that. Like stuff like that, I think the idea is cool to have like for like birthday bourbon because like other allocated whiskeys they have like bi-yearly or they aren't as different, I guess. Whereas birthday bourbon kind of specifies like 2019, 2020, 2021, you know, as their years. So I think that's really cool. And I have heard that they're good, but you're right. I have heard that they can be disappointing, at least
Where
on the
were we
nose.
that they had
Or
like,
on the palate.
they had like 10 bottles of it, remember? Up on the walls.
Oh, yeah. I don't even know. Was it? It might have been in New Orleans.
No, it was like a while ago. I was still in school.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
But yeah, that breaks my heart because I mean, if I get a birthday bourbon, I'm not gonna complain. I'm gonna have it, love it, drink it. But I've heard that they're not quite as good as you would hope for something of that caliber. Richie Z says, Hold'em, the C920 added about 7 drops of water, and it's still pretty good, noticeably brighter on the nose, but the palate is still rich and good. That's good to hear. Yeah, I thought the Elijah Craig kind of had the same thing going on. The nose was like just lighter and more, maybe a little bit more fruitier and sweeter, a lot less proof. Whereas the palate still had a lot of like viscosity and a lot of stuff going on, and it didn't feel at all watered down, like past the point of enjoyment. So I'm glad to hear that your high proof batch was the same. It'd be interesting to see, like, because that's 132.8 proof, I think you said. A lot of the batches that I have, like last year's batches and this year's batches of Elijah Craig barrel proof, were closer to the 124, 122 proof ranges. And it'd be interesting to see if they still have that kind of goodness at retaining their flavor with water. Because I know that the Larceny barrel proof, it was okay. It wasn't bad whiskey. If I got it in a bottle, I wouldn't pass on it. But the original was better. So, yep. Hey, Z asks Sir Kitty, is birthday bourbon crap or just too hyped? That's a good point, because there's one thing about being let down, and there's another thing about it just being bad whiskey. But I think that it's been my experience anyway, or opinion, that like the hype around a lot of Buffalo Trace products is usually not validated. I mean, it's good whiskey, but the way that people talk about it, I expected it to be liquid gold, So that's interesting. Sure, he says I blended C920 and Maker's 101, and it's darn good. That's interesting. I bet it would be good, being a weeder, and then just Elijah Craig kind of making a 4-grain masterpiece there. Biking Bourbon, are you guys from Wisconsin? Yes, sir. We are from Wisconsin, in Green Bay. Currently, right now, that's where we live. We grew up here. I grew up in Denmark, which is just south of Green Bay. Lauren is from Green Bay, tried and true. So yeah, full-bred Wisconsinites in this house. I'm sorry, guys. I'm a little behind on the comments. Been talking my head off here. Sugar Kitty says yes over oaked. When Hanging AZ had asked before, so yeah, so it must be overhyped and it's kind of like super oak bomb, I'm guessing. A lot of people had the same reaction with the Elijah Craig 18-year. That happens, Sometimes people try to do age and it doesn't quite come out right, and you get an over oaked whiskey and it just kind of doesn't taste quite as good. Sugar Kitty says horseradish cheese curds on a hot dog.
That's what they were. I swear, like the radio, like is foreseeing like the future, because this morning they were talking about, because it was like 4th of July weekend, so they're talking about like what kind of hot dog each state eats, and then like what kind of hot dog do you like the most? Like, what do you like on your hot dog? Like obviously like Chicago dog, like it's a really big thing.
Oh,
so,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, and like the lady on the radio was like, "Oh, why don't we put cheese curds on our hot dog?" But he would be talking about like regular cheese curds, not fried, I think.
Right.
Because they sell like horseradish cheese curds, not fried.
Honestly, cheese curds and anything, fantastic. At the Bourbon Room, we get these loaded pesto fries, and it's just like these big like steak fries, right?
Fries, yeah.
Yeah, they're like big steak fries.
Their fries are amazing, and then they put Asiago cheese, and they put pesto, and they put balsamic vinegar, and then they put like fresh cheese curds on top, and then they put it in the oven.
Yeah.
So
it's amazing. I mean, literally
cheese curds. Those are amazing.
Yeah, literally the cream of the crop right there. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. I think if there's one way for me to eat cheese curds, it would be mixed in with the rest of the loaded pesto fries.
The grocery store and they just have like cheese curds you can eat.
Yeah.
Remember back in '97?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't happen much anymore. But.
Right. Hank AZ says my holy grail would be Magnus Cigar Blend. Yeah, I would love Magnus Cigar Blend. I think my holy grail is, at the time being, not necessarily because of, hearing a lot of good things about it, which I do, but I think a mix between the bottle, the box, the presentation, everything. I would love a Wild Turkey's Master's Keep or Master's Collection or whatever it's called. I think it's Master's Keep. I think they're so cool. I think the bottles are cool. I think the boxes are really cool. I love Wild Turkey products. I think the whiskey would be good. I had a Master's Keep in New Orleans, and it was good. It was phenomenal. So I hope that they come out with more of them, because I would love one. Otherwise, Magnus Cigar Blend, that's definitely a bucket list item. So everyone talks about how good it is. You're willing to spend a lot of money on it. I could fall for the Cigar Blend for sure. Springbank, Campbelltown Scotch, very sought after and generally fantastic, but that local barley was bad, all caps. Experimental bottle smelled like it came out of the business end of a horse. Well, I've never been in the business end of a horse, but I can imagine that it doesn't smell very great. It's interesting that it's like that, because if it's local barley, does that just mean that they use like a locally sourced barley in place of their normal barley? And then is it really like that bad that it tasted like garbage and like hot shit? Because that's interesting how much just the type of barley can like influence it. Richie Z says, I've only ever had 2012 birthday bourbon, and it was a recent one at a restaurant, I think. It was a 2020 bottle. The 2012 blew the newer one away, and I actually gave away 2 2012s back then. Wow. I bet you're kicking yourself right now. I did hear that, though. A lot of allocated heavy hitter bottles have been going kind of down in quality, at least. They've been more disappointing. But on the bright side, some other offerings from other companies have been on the rise, so that's good. So is the natural way of the world. I think a lot of the whiskeys that were made back then kind of were heavier hitters compared to what they're doing now with allocated stuff, but they still make good allocated stuff. So that is interesting, though. Heine Z says, I did have a Nathan's dog eating contest yesterday. Only ate 2, LOL. What's a Nathan's dog? I don't know what's on that, but it sounds like it's good. Viking Bourbon says, as much and as many at Old Foresters, I have never had birthday bourbon. Me either, buddy. Me either. I looked it up. The birthday bourbon I had was 2021. Well, I think that might have been the one, because I kind of got into this a year or two ago, or a couple, like probably about 2 years ago, or maybe a year ago. We're getting at that point, but
2 years ago you weren't 21, goofy.
Oh yeah, you're right. Well, 2 years, or I wasn't. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I'm not gonna dig myself into a hole, but that's kind of when I was doing like the whole research and watching other people and kind of falling into this rabbit hole of whiskey. And I do recall seeing a review that it wasn't great stuff. So, Viking Bourbon says, "Go Pack Go! I'm from Wisconsin too." That's fantastic. Which part of Wisconsin are you from?
Did we already talk about this?
We might have already talked about this. It's hard to remember because there's a lot of Wisconsin guys in here, or in the world of whiskey. I know because we were talking to My Bourbon Journey the other time. He's from south or west. He's like southwest.
Like Milwaukee, or not Milwaukee.
Madison area, I believe. Southwest area. Hank Nazy says, I think 8 years is a sweet spot for my taste. Well, then this Elijah Craig would be perfect for you because it's 8 years old. And also, I believe the Larceny barrel proofs are in the 6 to 8 year range as well. So, Sugar Kitty says Wisconsin poutine ?
They have poutine at the Bourbon.
What is poutine again?
It's like it's gravy, cheese, with like it's just like that's fries, but it's usually like a gravy.
Oh,
and,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
cheese
yeah.
and stuff like that. I believe I've never had it. My brother likes poutine.
I've never had it either.
It's good. I've heard.
I mean, it sounds good. It sounds like
It's like
everything
same
I
thing.
like.
You like your fries soaked in yummy gooey shit. Yeah, we do.
Yeah, for sure. Haney Z said, I forgot to make kraut yesterday. Kraut, is that everywhere?
Sauerkraut, yeah.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
I know Wisconsin, I'm pretty sure Wisconsin is like big on sauerkraut too, aren't
That's
we?
because there's a lot of Germans.
Yeah, I'm German, so.
Half the world is German, honey. Doesn't make you special.
Wow. I wanted to feel special. He couldn't let me have my moment. Hanging Z says we used to go to the Gordon Biersch in downtown Tempe, and they had the best garlic fries.
You know what's amazing when you get garlic parmesan fries, or like the
garlic
truffle fries.
Yeah.
Those are amazing.
Yeah, those do sound really good. I want a set of samples of all the Master's Keep. I don't like the finished ones as much, but the others are all good. There is a new one in the pipeline. Well, that's fantastic. I will look for it. So the finished ones, when you say finished, are you talking I think there was a sherry cask and a double oaked. Does a double oaked fall under finish that you didn't like? Because I think I had Master's Keep 1, right? And I think the one I had was Master's Keep 1.
It wasn't finished or anything.
No, I think it was double oaked.
Oh.
It was a double oaked
sure?
one. Yeah. I believe it was Master's Keep 1. I believe it was double oaked. We did see Master's Keep like 17, or we saw and we were in Chicago.
No,
we were in Milwaukee, and I found like a Master's Keep. It was like Resurrection or something, or sorry, not Resurrection. It was a one with a high age statement, like a pretty high age statement. But it didn't have a box, and it was secondary price without a box. So I passed on it. I still think about it sometimes, contemplating should I bought it, but you can never be too sure. If there's no box, it could be it could not be the same whiskey. Someone could have refilled it. Otherwise, also the box part of the presentation that I love. So if it didn't come with a box, I kind of didn't want it anymore. So I'm still trying to find the Euro only Wild Turkey 13, but it might not be worth it. I would love that. 13-year-old turkey would be fantastic. Local barley, yes, means grown in the same area as a distillery. Campbelltown is a very isolated place in Scotland, so that is some funky barley, rotting grass type funky. That does not sound pleasant at all. Nathan's Hot Dogs from New York, they have the big contest there each year. Oh, is that where Chestnut was eating all the hot dogs? What's his name? Something Chestnut? Joey Chestnut? I don't know. The amazing hot dog eating wizard. Hey, Nazy says Nathan's famous. Nathan's is the original Coney Island. Okay.
Is that like the one with like a Coney dog? That's what they call them at A&W, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Richie Z says, the whiskey rabbit hole is fun, amazing, and costly. I just introduced a new friend who's deep into it now, much to the charging of his wife. I'm assuming that says charging. Yeah, luckily I am well supported here and not completely yelled at when I go and splurge. However, as you guys can see, I've been growing this shelf, which you can't quite see up there, but there's a lot. We're getting up into the $3,000 and higher dollar territory.
We're from the drunkest city in the world. We have to support that.
That's true. But yeah, she's usually okay with it as long as it's not like, if it's a bottle that we're not going to see again, something allocated, something that's going to help me or the channel. She's usually just fine. Go ahead and buy it. But. Hey, Maisie says, I have a rip and some poutine bud, ? My fave are the chili cheese fries.
The chili cheese fries from Charlie's. You ever had them? They're so good.
Where's Charlie's?
There's a Charlie's in the mall.
Really?
Charlie, yeah, the cheesesteak place.
Oh, the cheesesteak place. Gotcha. Yeah. So I've had chili cheese fries once. I think they're good. I love chili.
Well, it's not like it's like they're putting your chili on top of the fries.
Well, I know it's more like a meat sauce with like a chili,
Yeah.
like a chili seasoning.
Yeah.
But it still tastes
They
kind of
put
like
nacho cheese
it still kind of has like a
on it.
chili flavor. It's just not like chili. But I could imagine that I would like it. I think that if I was choosing between that or Asiago pesto fries, I'm always going to choose the pesto
For sure.
fries.
It's like
I
gourmet.
It's just I've never had better fries in my life. Double Oak is good. One is the latest Master's Keep. I think it's called Revival that was finished. Maybe. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, something like that. Asking if there's 2022 Masters. What are you laughing at?
She will always remember.
I said that. Yeah, Joey Chestnut won this year. Okay, that's what I thought. And he's like kind of a reigning champion, right? He's pretty popular in the hot dog eating world, I believe. Yes, Nathan's contest is a famous 4th of July with Joey Chestnut as the origin of hot dogs being called Coney Islands. Chagrin, not chargin. Oh, chagrin means humiliation and embarrassment of. Okay, I am being taught. We are being taught.
I don't get to be embarrassed by his bourbonness because everywhere we go, bourbon.
Don't sound so disappointed.
No, I'm saying that's how it is.
Oh yeah.
We literally can't go anywhere.
I talk about it a lot with a lot of people.
Like,
it helps.
These people start saying, "Oh my gosh, I have a whiskey channel online."
Gotta self promote, guys.
I should try my channel.
Look it up. The new Master's Keep will be called Unforgotten. Does it say what it has to offer? Because that's probably one that I'm going to be searching for and probably working hard to get. All right, so we're kind of moving on now. We're at the hour mark, so we're just going to finish up these last two whiskeys and then in somewhat fast order. But we got the Wild Turkey Rare Breed here. I mean, super oaky, super oak cinnamon, like a deep cinnamon, very spicy with the oak and the cinnamon, high proof, full nose on this one. Still super cherry-y, not quite medicinal, but on the way to being medicinal. Full bodied, lots of proof on the nose, singeing on the hairs. I always forget how fantastic Rare Breed is. I mean, I've never tasted anything more cherry, vanilla, oak in my life. Just tasted that before I add water to it. She's never had this one, and
Yes, I did. I had it on a live stream with you. I think. I don't know.
I don't think you did.
I think
maybe she did. Richie Z says I want one of those new Master's Keeps. Yes, me too, buddy. Me too. It'll be the 105 proof and a burr rye. Interesting, because I like the 101 rye, the Wild Turkey rye, and I loved the Wild Turkey 202 that I blended when I mixed them both together that one time on that live stream. So I thought that was pretty great. Yeah, so it sounds like all of us in this chat will be looking for that one, huh? What did you think?
I tasted that chocolatey.
Chocolatey? Okay, yeah. Like a cocoa, like a dark chocolate.
Cacao.
Yeah, I agree. This one's not quite as high of a proof. It's 116.8. So I'm gonna add 1.5 milliliters of water to it, and then we're gonna see how much this changes. Now, this is really good whiskey to begin with. Not overly aggressive, would you say?
No tingles at all.
No tingles at all. So it shouldn't need that much water in it regardless. But we're going to see. This is also one of them that it's not a single barrel. It is a mainstay. And it's the same mash bill and everything as normal Wild Turkey 101 and 86 or 81. So watering it down should maybe get us near that 101 proof. But we're gonna see how much it reminds us of that Wild Turkey 101 that we all love. So, okay, a little bit less oaky on the nose now, a little bit more cinnamon. Still getting some vanilla. I would say like vanilla extract. It's like a sharp vanilla. I'm not quite vanilla frosting yet. I think that's falling pretty close to the Turkey 101 proof there. Very cherry, vanilla, cinnamon, a little bit of that chocolate's there. Not quite as potent. The oak is there, but like I said, tamed down compared to normal full strength. What'd you think of that?
That's okay.
You kind of got rid of that chocolate there, didn't it?
Yeah.
And you liked the chocolate? Yeah. So that kind of like dark chocolate note probably came with a lot of that proof and age and like all that kind of stuff. Kind of tamed down a little bit, kind of falling more into like the vanilla caramel cherry sweetness, but still lots of cinnamon on the finish, especially noticing that it has a nice soft finish all the way down. Sugar Cutie says, I know people make Wild Turkey 202, which is 101 bourbon plus 101 rye. Yes, I did that on the channel, actually. I think the new Master's Keep would be like mixing Master's Keep 17 Bib with Master Keep Cornerstone Rye. Oh, yeah. Probably. That would make sense. Yeah, it should be like the Wild Turkey 202, but with a little age. I think that'll be good. I hope the box is cool. I know they're all cool, but like my favorite color is blue. So it would be cool if it was a blue box. I know the sherry one was like a dark like red purple, almost like a whatever. Then there's a red one and a green one and a gray one. But I don't believe there's a blue one yet, but hopefully the Burr Rye can be the first blue one. I mean, that's just kind of me nitpicking. I'm gonna buy it regardless, but it would be cool if it was in a blue box. Richie G says, anytime I get a nice cherry note, not the medicinal cough drop note, I smile. Yes, me too. Although I do love the cough drop note. I'm not partial against the cherry cough drop note.
You like cherry cough drops, though. Some people
I do. I do like.
People don't like the way the cherry medicine smells. I like all cherries, except for maraschino.
Oh, actually, this is still a little bit higher than this one, I believe. This one seemed to have a little bit more oak on the palate. Okay. So this one definitely has a little bit more oak on the palate, a little less oak on the palate, a little bit more of a spice though, a little bit more of that cinnamon. More sweetness in this one, less vanilla, more like a vanilla extract, less of a vanilla frosting. Cherryness is still there though, really nice fresh cherries. It's good. Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. One more drop of water. See if we can bring it down to like an 80 proof. That was about 1.5 milliliters. One final swirl in the glass, and then a little tasting here. Okay, so starting to get really caramely, really basic. Cinnamon is there, but nothing is really jumping out. Smells sweet. Smells slightly cherry-y. And nothing is as full as it once was, so. It kind of tastes like juice on the palate. Really just like In your eyes again?
I don't know what's wrong with me.
It kind of just like, I wasn't expecting it to be that sweet. Like right on the front of the palate.
I don't like it.
You don't like it?
No.
What's it? Could you agree though? You notice how like it was kind of like really sweet on the front of the palate?
No.
No?
No. Tastes bitter to me.
Oh, on the back end for sure.
Just everywhere. It's just not good.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't think it was that bad.
I have better taste.
I don't know if I would call it bitter, but I might call it dry.
I don't like it.
I think what she's referring to is kind of got like a dry, sapping kind of like moisture sappingness to it. That it could be unappealing. I think it was still better than the Larceny. You think? No? But yeah. I don't know about you guys, but there's been gnats everywhere this year. I think since it got so hot and humid in Wisconsin, they've been freaking multiplying and they're everywhere and it's pissing me off. But that's besides the point. I got to try to find where I was here. The smiling about cough drops. I mean cherry notes. Hey, Nazy says I have 2 bottles of Eagle Rare in the hold. Newest was from Total Wine. Might have a different profile than the Kroger ones. Well, hopefully it's got something that you like. I have only toasted grape. Well, I hope you like toasted grape. I love a grape note. My Eagle Rare is very medicinal or very artificial grape and a little bit of leather. Maybe a little bit of tobacco, but mainly like very artificial grape, like a grape soda, which is really which I find to be really nice. I like it a lot. That being said, I know a lot of people hate that grapiness, so I hope that you're one who likes a good grape. Hanging Z says the sapping I attribute to be too much oak. Yeah, I agree. You kind of don't notice it when it's full proof because you kind of just expect the proof and like all that kind of stuff to be overwhelming on your taste buds and kind of like not scorching, but like I don't want to say drying because it's not necessarily dry, but it's not as like refreshing as drinking really low proof. So that being said, we're on our last bottle of the night. Old Forester 1920, which is a crowd favorite. To be fair, all of these are crowd favorites, so they're all good whiskeys. But 1920s tends to be everyone's go-to when they're in search of like a budget. Although it was, I have to say, I think the old bottle was a little bit better than the new bottle, and I think a lot of people realize that as well, which is a bummer that you can't quite get the old bottle anymore, but it is what it is. Sugar Kitty says a Calumet 15 is one of the most cherry-forward whiskeys I've had, more than Stag's. I can get it now around $100 and actually worth it. I agree. I have Calumet 15 right here, and it is very cherry, and it's right up my alley because I love that. It's like a very cherry cinnamon and leather kind of like ness to it, and tobacco, like the tobacco leathery like funk note is in there, and I like that a lot with the cherry. Really good. My ER was grape, but more on the wine side than soda. Okay, so yeah, almost like maybe like a cognac, kind of a grapey sweetness, which I can get down with. So last whiskey of the day, Old Forester 1920. Cherry, oak, a little bit of tobacco, brown sugar, caramel, brown sugar, cherries, chocolate, cherries. It's Old Forester 1920. I don't know what you guys want me to say, but it's good whiskey. You get that? Do you get the cherry note?
I can get cherries.
You can? Yeah. It's very, maybe not as much as Calumet 15, but this is just a very cherry forward whiskey. Not quite as full bodied as the other whiskeys tonight. That cherry note, very vibrant, very bright, and like punching through a lot of things. There is some like brown sugar, maybe like a molassesy-esque on the palate here. But overall, cherry oak, cinnamon. This is a little bit of cinnamon, maybe closer to a nutmeg. Very light. Maybe more like an oak spice. But overall, really nice. Did you want to try it all before I add water?
You want me to try it?
Yeah, sure. You can try that one. Kind of, you're doing really good, by the way, with your whiskey drinking. I don't know if any of you guys have noticed, but she's been doing quite well. I would not pay that for another Calumet 14, I'm afraid. The 16 is too much, like the 14. Just working on a sample of it now. I haven't had the 16. I had two or three opportunities to buy it. I passed on it a few times. It's just one of those ones for an extra year compared to the 15. I don't know if it was worth $150 or whatever it was. Just to me personally, I think I actually got it for. I think like I had the option for a good price. It was only like 120 or something at Woodman's, which I know retail is a little bit higher typically for that, but I couldn't pull the trigger, especially since like I'd been buying other whiskeys recently, like the Bookers. I kind of wanted a little bit more than that because I hadn't had a Bookers in a while, so
It's cheap.
and it was a little bit cheaper. I'm trying to organize an Arizona meetup with Tipsy, Z-Man, and some others I met on Bad Axe Bourbon. Well, maybe one day I can. You'll have to keep in touch about that Arizona meetup, because if ever I feel like driving out there, that would be something I'd be really interested in doing. I like all you guys. And then Tipsy, I obviously know them, and you guys are all great. So that would be interesting. Richie Z says, holding your palate is on a great trajectory. You're on your way up. Well, thank you, Richie. I agree. I tend to like the good stuff. I'd say my palate's not cheap, unfortunately. I like stuff that has a lot of that flavor, but yeah, I think you and my palates kind of align pretty well. So that's always a good thing to have, especially with like other people. All right, so what did you think about this one?
That's okay.
It was okay. Did you get the like really cherry on the palate too, or did you not quite as much as the nose?
Not as much, but it wasn't bad.
All right, so we're going with 1.5 milliliters of water. This one is 115 proof originally. Not too sure on the age. It's not age stated, so it's good whiskey. I have a feeling this water might be too much, might kill it. But we're gonna see. We're gonna find out. Oh, I don't know if I like that. I want to say it kind of got this like crayon note.
Like a cranberry or a crayon?
Crayon.
Like a color?
Like a coloring crayon. It's not like it's weird. It's not like I can tell the cherry note's still there, but it's kind of got like this weird funk to it. I don't know. Like, I don't know if my sniffer's broken, but like it kind of, I don't know if crayon
that's how it tasted when I tasted
might be the right word. Really? That's not really exactly what I tasted, but it's kind of got a weird funk in it for sure.
No bueno.
Not bad, actually. Finish is still warm. Very cherry. The oak spice and cinnamon come a lot more into play, I think. It's actually not as bad on the palate as I would have thought based on the nose. Yeah, no,
Okay.
it's okay. Was it better this time on the palate than it was the first time around? Yeah. So I think the grand consensus tonight is going to be that water can make whiskey better if it's the right whiskey. I think some whiskey needs a little bit of water, but other whiskeys are good the way they are. You know, grand consensus. Now, in terms of these, I think it's going to be pretty obvious that the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof Down is going to be the best one out of all of them. It's just nice and honey, and it's just well rounded, and it has all those notes mixed together really nice. Yeah, so if you guys have a really high proof ECBP like Richie did, definitely add a couple drops of water and see what that can do to it. I think last place is going to be the Old Forester 1920. I think the nose is just a little bit too funky for me on that one. Third place is going to be the Larceny Barrel Proof. And then second place is going to be the Wild Turkey Rare Breed. I think the Elijah Craig was great. Adding water actually helped it a lot. I think it was great. I think these two are fun to have with water. I think that I definitely wouldn't add water every time, but maybe once in a while to switch it up, it would be a fun thing. I don't think I would ever add water to the 1920 again. You know, it wasn't that great, and I think you agree. It was just mediocre. But that being said, I hope that answers the main question for tonight's video on whether water can make whiskey better or not, because it definitely can. It just depends on how you feel about certain notes. You know, I think ultimate consensus is that the water took down a little bit of those like sweet dark notes, like the rich honey and like dark leather and oakiness notes, and brought out a lot more of like fruity notes and lighter notes, and like didn't have a whole lot of floralness on a lot of these whiskeys, but just like the proofing it down tended to bring out a bit more fruitiness, at least in my experience, or at least let it shine through a little bit. So there's that. At the end of the day, I want to enjoy the bourbon, and I can admit when I don't like one. Yeah, you know, hanging AZ, that's a good way to be. I will say I like a lot of whiskey. Part of me loves the experience of new whiskeys more than the experience of it being good or not. I think that comparing it to each other, there's definitely ones I like more than others, but I do think that a lot of whiskeys that people think are bad, I just find interesting, and I try not to put interesting in a bad column. Now, I've never had things like the Cleveland, like artificially aged whiskey, or some of those real bad whiskeys that everyone talks about. But, you know, I'd be interested to see if they're really as bad as people say. Hanging Z says Sugar Kitty shames my bourbons, but we agree on some like OGD Bib and Maker's 101. Yeah, well, I've never had either of those, but I can imagine they're good because I like normal Makers and I like Beam Profile and nuttiness. So those both sound like hitters to me. I really should get OGD 114 one of these days, but I keep putting it off because spending money is it's hard, especially when you're saving up for things in life. Soap left in the glass. Soap. Was he talking about my crayon thing? It could have been soap. Or was he talking about someone else? I'm not sure. Hanging AZ says, what is the proof on the Elijah Craig? This one is 132.7. And I'd say I probably proofed it around, guessing on my palate, probably proofed it around 90 proof. Seemed to be the like good range for it. Not too much bite at all, but still not quite watery and 80 proof. So if that's what you were asking, that's what it is. Believe it or not, I'm spending 4 bottles. I bet all 4 can be recommended. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Whiskey Nose. Welcome to the chat. Hey, thanks for coming on and saying hey. I appreciate you stopping in here. Everyone, go check out all the people whose channels have stopped in tonight, please. I'm sure all you guys already do because kind of like a really close-knit community here. Also, if you guys haven't liked the button and lick the like, please. I would appreciate that a lot. And subscribe if you guys aren't subscribed. But we're kind of rounding down the end of the stream. So, yeah, make sure you're checking out everyone's channels and hitting the like button and subscribing to everyone. That helps everyone out a lot, especially me. So that would be appreciated. Richie Z says in 1920 just didn't take water too well. It's meant to be sipped neat anyway. Yep, I would agree. Didn't take kindly to water. It's good the way it is. I don't think it needed any help. So there's that. Hanging Z says, yeah, trying whiskey is fun. I agree. A lot of new whiskeys are just good experiences. And Sugar Kitty says, oh yes, 114. Don't be sleeping on it. It's impressive. Or it's inexpensive, but it hits well above its cost. And it's readily available for me here in Wisconsin at Woodman's. It's always on the shelf. So Richie Z says, great live holding and misses. Love your notes on what you're having. Thanks, Richie, so much for coming out. And thanks for the compliment. I appreciate that. And I think you do too, right?
You give me a compliment.
Yeah, he said, and the misses.
Oh.
Yep.
Hi. I'm technically not a missus. I'm just a miss.
Just a miss so far. Not quite a misses yet. Sugar Kitty Meow, good conversation. Hanging AZ says, I need another 114. My bottle is 2 hours away at my cabin. Good hammock sipper. Yeah, I believe it. Richie Z says, Holden, you should wrench sugar. I should handle a couple wrenches, actually. Can I do that right now? Nope, I can put... What does a star do? A wrench means that they can, like, kick people out or give them timeouts if they're being naughty, or like plug people's channels and all that kind of stuff. And yes, is a star button a wrench? I think so. Sugar Kitty, Richie Z, Hanging AZ. You guys are all getting wrenches. You guys are definitely mainstays in the channel. Good friends. Please let me know if that worked. I hit a star button, and I think that's how you wrench people, but I'm relatively... hold on. Maybe not. You guys just stay there for a second while I quickly check out this wrenching situation. I think because I was using... There we go. Now I'm getting the hang of it. Sugar Kitty, I knight you. You are now a mod. Hanging AZ, you are also a mod, and Richie Z modded. So thank you guys for always being here every week. You don't know how much that means to me. I really appreciate you guys stopping in and hanging out with us. I mean, it's fun having you guys here. I learned so much from you guys. I hope you enjoy watching us and learn a little bit from me. But you guys are definitely knowing a lot of things, and I appreciate you guys sharing your wisdom. But that being said, I think it is time to end the stream. So go check out everyone's channels tonight. I think live streamers on Tuesdays. I always forget 21090, I think is how you say it. I always get confused because there's so many numbers. But I always get I always forget to mention 21090 is always on. They're great guys. I think my Bourbon Journey does Tuesdays as well. Bourbon Junkies do Tuesdays, and let me know if I'm missing anyone else. But yeah, thank you guys for all coming out. I hope you enjoyed it, and making sure I got all these comments here. I love coming on to channels and watching them grow, and I appreciate that. Next up is My Bourbon Journey. Yep. So everyone go head over to My Bourbon Journey, check them out. I'll probably jump in there for a little bit at least, say hi and hang out with them. So good night, everybody. Thanks for all coming, and we'll see you all in the next class. Cheers.